Howdy, tubers and footers. How is everybody doing this late evening? I'm doing okay over here on the West Coast. I had a whole plan, but then my I don't know. As well as my plans go, they just kind of faded with the evening. I do have my banners here, but I don't have them hung up. Here, let me show you. Check this out. Hey, Judy Wheeler. Look at this. Oh, what? So, I'm going to get that bad boy hung up behind me. Pretty awesome, isn't it? And what's really cool is this is the route that Missy and I did. Hey, Pyromedic, how's it going? So, that's really cool. So, it's a route that will never be done again. Probably. So, there you go. Just trying to get comfy here. Yeah, my background, it's so bright. I need to change the lighting. There's a few things I need to change, but I don't know. I like it. I really like the setup out here. Oh my gosh, I've been pulled my mandolin out. I've been trying to play that again, and I was working on a piece tonight. I've just started on trying to figure out how I'm going to do it, but I figured it was a good project for me to do like an art piece not in memory of, but just acknowledging and recognizing the woman I was, and either just like giving gratitude and sending it off or something to that effect. I just feel like there's some healing left to do. Like I did this one piece. I'll grab it here. Hold on. Yep. Here we go. Okay. So I did this one piece. I don't know. Can you guys still hear me? I can't hear me. So that's weird. And this I did in the dark. It was a really cool project that we did with this women's circle. And we were outside in nature, in the woods. And yeah, Haven Root. And we were in the dark. There was no light, and we were just sitting around a fire. And we had, all these art supplies around, and the project was to work on painting something that spoke to you, but you had no light, so you're kind of doing it by feel almost. And so that was the one I came up with. And at that time, it's like, this is, me sitting in my light, even though all this darkness and stuff is clouding and surrounding around me. And I can choose to open the doors or close them. And I usually try and keep my, the doors open. And that was just, I don't know, it was kind of a reflective piece. But I was thinking of doing something to this effect again, of just some kind of reflective piece of art that I don't know what I'm trying to say here, because I'm not trying to send her off, but I'm just trying to acknowledge the woman that I was, and because I'm missing her terribly, and So I think that would be a really good healing project for me to do. Hey Ed, Pot K, welcome. How you doing? Oh, they're setting the clocks back tomorrow night? Ay, ay, ay. That's Pyro, I would have had to paint my face. That's funny. Thank you, Ed. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm in a healing space where I'm trying to find my place in all of this, and then just make peace with where I'm at, health wise and all of that. So it's been quite an interesting journey, but it's one I want to embrace fully. And I have been going through this weird, like, should I put it on private? Because I'm really embarrassed and humiliated and going through all this weird emotions when you share your feelings. You're really exposed and you're really vulnerable, and it feels uncomfortable. But being in uncomfortable spaces is something uh, where you tend to grow the most. And so I'm just kind of trying to sit with this uncomfortableness and acknowledge it, and just see what happens, because I'm on this weird um, internal journey, just trying to find my place in all of it all. And so uh, it's been interesting, that's for sure. But being reflective and being open and honest with everybody is hard. It's a bit exposing, I guess. It's like running around naked. Not something I would do. So. Oh, you were an advanced EMT. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, Ed, on 9/11 too. Whoa. Wow. Yeah, that. Oh, goodness. I made me some hot tea here. Got me some tea here. I'm trying to. Is it hard for you to talk about that, Ed? I bet. That would choke me up, I'm sure. And I I thought I was at a place where I was strong enough to bring up the topic and start talking about it. And then as soon as I did, it was like, oh, danger, danger. What have you done? So that got a little unnerving, but I feel I'm in safe company. But when you just let it out into the world, you're not really in safe company anymore. It's just out there. So like I said, I've been going back and forth. Should I put it on private or not? But we'll see. Thank you, Judy. I love the idea. Has me wondering if I should do something reflective as well. Wow. Yeah, it was a really good. I really miss. They don't do those women's circles anymore. The group, just kind of broke up when I went to Alaska. I think that was their last gathering they had. But when they had it, it was just wonderful to be in a space with women that weren't man bashing, because I don't do that. I'm not on that bandwagon at all. And that were really there to encourage one another regardless of what journey and where we were on in our place in life. There's this picture that of the women's team and I standing there when I gave him the contingency prize. And that picture reminded me and I was going to make a post about it. And again, these are these weird things where I'm just not sure, I just feel like, should I share this? Whatever. But it looked to me, it just reminded me of the triple moon goddess of the the mother maiden and the crone, because I'm at that stage where I'm in the crone stage, um, and so, and Hillary's at the mother stage and Ashley's still in the maiden stage. So it was a really interesting um, thought that came to my mind. Just like the moment I saw it, just popped in that was the triple moon goddess photo. And I thought, wow, it is kind of really, and I thought, maybe I should do something with this. So, like I said, I've just got all this stuff whirling around in my head constantly. Yeah, everything you say is online is there forever. Yeah, it's very true, Ed. So, yeah, I've been trying to figure out. So we'll see if it goes private. You guys, yeah, hopefully you guys will understand why. But for now, I'm just sitting in that uncomfortable zone, sharing all that information. I picked up this, just to completely switch topic here. I picked up this little bobblehead, like this little head magnet while I was in Seattle. I don't know. It made me laugh. It was pretty cute. And I got this one too. It was really cool though. This one's really pretty. It's kind of got like that 3D effect. Yeah. Oh, this one. I thought, I thought this one was hilarious. I, I couldn't resist that one. Danny Staten, how's it going, South Carolina? With all the news, you guys have been hogging up the news there for a while with your law drama. I'm curious, Danny. Did you have any run-ins with the Murdochs? Did you know anything about them? That's a pretty interesting story. Part of me, liars are, especially when they're good liars, and anybody that's a lawyer is a good liar, right? So that's why I couldn't be a lawyer. I would suck so bad. The one thing I would be good at is the debate part, but other than that, no. um, yeah, a part of me wanted to think that guy was Swamp Hillbillies from the coast. Okay, Danny. Part of me thought that maybe they were, maybe it wasn't him, and you know, some crazy shit was going down. It's hard to trust what's in the news. I don't know. Pyro, you were with the team that started the Oklahoma City. Oh my gosh. Whoa. You know what's crazy about that? My mom, she worked for HUD for years after when she got out of real estate, um, the first time, she went and worked for HUD. And while she was working for HUD, she got an offer to go to Oklahoma City. So she was going to go to either Oklahoma City or Virginia, to down to their headquarters down there. And her and a friend were being, had the option to transfer if they wanted to. And so they both did. And her friend went to Oklahoma City, and their office was in that building. So that was just wow, what a shocker. And then all of the background that came out about um, all of that, and the Stanford testing and that Stanford experiment, the kid was part of that, wasn't he? Or something along those lines. Crazy, crazy. It's crazy when you start digging into that whole thing. That's pretty insane. So, my buddy Derek, Maggot Eater, we were thinking about doing some streaming of our gaming. So Joe and Derek and I do some gaming, and there's a few others. Um, so we thought about doing, streaming it because we have a great time, and of course I'm a complete idiot, so there's that level of entertainment. So it's always fun, but we've been playing, there's a few games that we play, but I've really been enjoying that Sea of Thieves game. I don't know if you guys have seen it on Steam, but it's hilarious. You're like pirates and stuff. So we've been considering adding that to the loop. But Sunday, he's going to get his Bean Boozled package in as well. And we're going to play this Bean Boozled game together. And there's two of each in the package of these flavors. And you could either get like for example, they look the same. These two jelly beans will look the same. So one will either be liver and onions or the other one will be cappuccino. So it's like from one extreme to the next. So you don't know what you're going to get. But I figured that would be a lot of fun to try and play with that a little bit. Try that out. What was that, Pyro? My mother-in-law was walking to the AT&T phone building across the street from it. Oh my gosh, she wasn't injured. Oh, terrifying. Did she see the van parked out there or the truck? Oh my gosh. Ugh, that would be difficult. Yeah, so I'm just working on a few different art projects out here in the studio and have a few ideas and some fun things like I keep saying we're going to do, but I keep adding to the idea list. And anyhow, I pulled out my mandolin. I haven't played that in forever, and it's crazy because I had this like rush of emotion because one of the last time that I used my mandolin was when I sent Carrie a birthday uh, video, and I had my crazy bunny ears on, and I was crazily playing my mandolin, singing him. You say it's your birthday. It was a ridiculous video, but he enjoyed it. And so, yeah, it was kind of tough. There's just, I don't know. I've just got all these emotions going on, and I don't know if it's like that. What do they call that? Mercury retrograde. Whatever. But, oh, so no, just a shockwave, bewildered by that. Oh my gosh. I bet that still kind of haunts her. That's insane. I watched this story about a little girl who wasn't getting any sleep, and she was keeping her parents up all night as well, and she was going through these weird physical actions and doing things that were random. Like one time she's sitting there pretending she's drinking coffee, and she even said coffee, and just some weird body motions and conversation, and she was having it by herself and just off in like this whole different uh, state of mind. And after they brought her to the doctor, and it took tons and tons of, this isn't, this isn't it. We don't know what it is. We don't know, where I but a bunch of people would have given up. But they kept persisting, and a neurologist got involved, and they actually did like a sleep study on the little girl. And come to find out, her brain was replaying her day's activity systematically. It was going through her entire day systematically, and she was acting out everything she saw, heard, that her mind was taking in, and her body was actually physically acting it out. So once they figured out that was going on, they did a few little tricks. I'm not sure what, but within 3 days, she was back to sleeping normal. So the stories like that intrigue me because a lot of the power of our mind and what we can and can't accomplish when we set our mind to things really intrigues me. And one of the Bible stories or hopes or visions or whatever that just sticks with me is the one where Jesus said, all of these things I can do, you can do, and more. That and more part really intrigues me. And so I just think there's so much untapped potential that we just, I don't know if we're sliding backwards or what, but after dealing with, when you go out and deal with any kind of customer service nowadays, it gets really shocking because you realize how much our silent and baby boomer generation actually did for us. And all the technology we have now, and everything we have is because of you know, their ingenuity. And we're losing that generation. And I had this thought earlier where I was like, that's how we lost our knowledge of the pyramids, is exactly what's happening right now. Is because the generation that created it and built it all, they got it all working. It's functional. It's working now. You know what I mean? All of our infrastructure is built. It's working. They haven't really had to teach, like all the knowledge of teaching how that stuff has been put together is fading. And these newer generations aren't interested in it. They don't care. A lot of them don't care to know it. And all of that knowledge is going to disappear. And right, Ed, we are losing values as well. And so it just really made me realize, like, that's exactly what happened with that knowledge, is those builders, the whatever generation it was that puts it all together, they make it all work, and it works great for years and years and years. And that's when those generations fade, and the newer generations have no idea as they come on, how it was even designed, the thought process behind it, because they've taken over. Like, we don't have to think about basic math and things like that because we have calculators and all of that stuff. So knowing how to do certain formulas, it's all being lost. It's just being, just trickling away. And I thought that was an interesting um just thought, that is that how we lost all that knowledge, is because these generations, as time slips and everybody becomes comfortable in our amenities around and everything that we have, We forget how it was built, and choom, and then before we know it, it's gone. Like once that silent generation is gone, we are going to lose knowledge that will never, the circumstances that they had their knowledge built upon, we will never face those circumstances again. So that knowledge is going to be lost forever. It's going to be gone. Like their survival capabilities, their MacGyver skills, the things that that generation have, their ability to think, you know, that's just, it's going to be gone. And yeah, Pyro, very few of us can duplicate a small percentage of our technology now. Yeah. My son went on to Hidden Existence with Daniela and Jason like a year or so ago, and he was talking about like EMPs and how devastating that will be. And there was a lot of people that was giving him pushback and, stressing on him that, oh, you're so negative and this is too negative and blah, 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 and all this, all the whatever. But the truth of the matter is, if we have some major flat, we're going to, we'll be stuck. We will go back so quickly. And I really think it was something like that. It doesn't take much. And that's how we lost. Hey, Miss Dill. That's how we lost all that knowledge from the pyramids and stuff like that, is because, it probably was something simple where, they've got everything working, everything was great, it just functioned and worked. So they didn't need to maintain it, they didn't need to know how to rebuild it. And so while time went on and that knowledge evaporated, something potentially, it doesn't have to be fully catastrophic, but something like a plague, like the COVID or something like that happens, and it shuts things down for just long enough to where it doesn't function anymore. And then you just start this backhill slide. And I just thought that was really interesting that that whole series of thoughts came to mind, just played out. But I thought that is really interesting. Yeah. Has an amazing mind and doesn't have a big head about it. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we owe a debt of gratitude to our silent and baby boomer generation for sure. And we need to figure out some way to do a a mind dump with them. Because they have skills and knowledge we'll never acquire again. And so I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting. Just watching it play out in our life. Like we're watching it, you know. We're feeling the effects of the baby boomer and the silent generation retiring deeply right now. And just try and deal with anybody in customer service, and it's like today when we went to Coyote Steel. My husband went in there, and he's got, bless your soul, Judy. You're one of our precious ones. And he brought a section of pipe in. And he's like, okay, I need some more of this pipe. And the kid in there was dumbfounded and said, you need to bring more pipe. I need more of that to figure out what it is. And my husband's looking at him like, what do you mean? It comes in 20-foot lengths. You want me to bring in the whole 20-foot length? Like, what are you talking about? Why do you need the whole pipe to figure out what it is? And let's say this is the only round thing I could find. So, like, here's, like, let's say this is the pipe, and you've got this little, ring. Let's say there's a hole in there. Okay, it's an actual pipe. He was trying to measure this, like that right there, instead of Jake was like, no. And so he grabs it and he's just, putting it over. Then he's like, that guy's like, you're never going to figure it out that way. Like, what is wrong with the kids these days? They seriously are unable to think. And when he came in, he was so frustrated. And it takes a lot to frustrate Captain Jake, let me tell you. But he was completely done with this kid, and he pretty much told the kid off at that point. Like, whoa, no, this is wrong. Like, what are you gonna need that much? Like, how much more do you need to tell what kind of pipe it is? Yeah. So that's what started that whole. We're gonna miss our baby boomers and our silent gen big time. Miss Dill, I want some fertile land with a natural spring and Biggie friends that will barter with me. There you go. Right? It's really interesting that the more advanced we get, the more we want to go back. The further backwards we want to go. It's like romanticizing the cabin life in Alaska, and then you go live it, and you're like, oh shit, this is tough, man. Sounds good on paper, and then when you go do it, it's like, oh Jesus, okay, there's a reason why this didn't last. Oh my gosh, it's tough. Yes, I do use CBD, Miss Dill. Thickness of metal instead of the outside diameter. Yes, Pyro, that is exactly what that kid was doing. And it was like, no, you're never going to figure it out doing that, dipshit. Yeah. Pretty entertaining. Yeah, so I think I don't know, I'm just in this weird spot where I'm just trying to find my way, find my place. Look at my hair. I got this alfalfa thing going on. I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna mess with it and it's gonna get worse. So I'm not even gonna touch it. But yeah, so I'm gonna just keep doing my thing, and who knows what's gonna end up happening. But I thought it would be fun to go down to Willamette River here maybe tomorrow or something, and go do a little footy man expedition out there if my body will cooperate. That's always necessary. But they had a sighting. They had a sighting there recently. So I thought, let's go take a lookie. You know what I think? Miss Dill, I'm going to have on my Tubers and Chiefers channel, we're going to do I'm going to have a group from Goodness LLC. They're going to actually come here to the studio, and we're going to interview them. And they're going to bring a ton of goodies with them. And we're going to actually send them out to whoever's on the live stream at the time. So whoever's during that live stream, we're going to have goodies and send them out to you, because they are CBD. We can send them anywhere, or they are able to. So it's a local, it's a couple who's local here to Oregon. But their mission is, really incredible. They're a really cool group of people. So I thought it'll be fun to interview them, have them come over and bring some goods and share them out with everybody. So that'll be fun. What do you got, Judy? Moving soon to kids' first home, 3 acres in the middle of the Ozarks with natural springs and a new well. Good for you, Judy. Wow, that's going to be... Oh, that'll be a grounding, healing space for sure. Wow. That's nice. Yeah, so I think that'll be good. They're going to bring lots of samples. And like I said, we're going to send them out to whoever's on. So look for that here soon. I got to get that scheduled and get that going. I was in the process of getting them to come right before I went to Alaska. And then the Iron Dog came on and I went, shoop, squirrel. The other way I went. So that'll be fun. But yeah, we were in the midst of planning that out. So we can make that happen pretty soon. They're about an hour and a half away. Stephen Bloom, welcome. So that'll be fun. And then of course I've sent the email back to the girls, the women's team. Hopefully we'll be able to get them scheduled. I know there's a bunch of races going on right now. So it's a busy time to try and get racers on. But I may probably have my best luck in summertime, but then again, no, because summertime in Alaska, everybody's gone. So this may be a harder project than I imagined. Trying to get iron doggers. You're just trying to nail them down and get them to sit long enough is a job on its own. So it'll be fun though. They're excited. They want to do it. It's just trying to find the time to get the teams to where they can sit down and, figure out a time where everybody can do it. So Pyro. Beast of the Woods crew, we're talking about having their next camp out in Arkansas. Oh. I want to do one of those, especially with those guys. I really, really want to meet Mark and Larry face to face. Those guys are, I don't know, there's something about that group. And then Sisters of the Moon. I think they're just a really neat bunch. Just genuine. You can tell they are a genuine good group of people who don't get into drama. They don't even do it. So I love that about them. So yeah. They're funny. Oh my God, they make me laugh so hard. So that would be fun. I was hoping, and this was the summer, I was hoping to do a women's retreat in Alaska, a women's footer retreat in Alaska. But I just couldn't get it together. Everything that was supposed to happen just blew up in my face, so unexpectedly. And that was all, all that betrayal just threw everything aside. So we'll try to get something figured out. But yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. What did you mention about the Iditarod guy looking for Footy Man? Yes. So there is, and I cannot find his name. I need to just sit down and spend some time finding this guy. But there is a musher, an Iditarod musher this year who's out on the trail right now. And he is obsessed with Bigfoot, Sasquatch. And he's got some, I know he's got some great stories just by the passion he had in his interview about it. So I definitely want to get this guy on. I want to talk to him. I definitely want to send him to Mark and Larry and Tex and, Rob, get him around the whole, have him make his rounds because the guy is hilarious. He just seems like a hilarious person. But he did his musher. They had this whole thing where meet the mushers right before the race. And he's on his interview and all he would talk about was Bigfoot. And you could hear someone off in the side saying something and he turns and he goes, "What? Wait, what do you mean I'm not supposed to talk about that?" It was hilarious. So that guy, he just seems like he's got a great sense of humor. So he keeps saying he wants to prove the existence of Bigfoot out there on the Iditarod Trail. And so he wants the other mushers to come forth with their stories and stuff as well. So I think that would be awesome to get that going, right? Because again, what was really interesting was in the Iditarod chat, a woman had talked about her experience on finding footprints while she was out snow machining in the same area I did. That's what I mean. I tried, and it was after the fact, so I can't, I couldn't like respond to her and say, "Hey, hey, hey." But I feel that is really interesting. By the way, your skin looks glowing. Aw, thank you, Miss Dill. You know what that could be, though? I'd love to say my inner personality glowing out. Fenty. Fenty makeup. I love Fenty makeup, but she's got this glow thing for your face that maybe that's what it is. Or maybe I am glowing. I don't know. But it is called Glow. And she's got a few different shades of it. You just kind of put it on. You can either mix it with your foundation. Sorry, gentlemen. I know this is not your topic, but the ladies here, they may enjoy this. So, but you just mix it with your makeup and however you put makeup on with a brush or your hands or however. And yeah, you put it on as a primer or whatever. But it is really pretty. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. Aw, thank you. They did take a couple months. Oh, is that why I haven't seen them, Pyro? I've been out of the loop for a while and I feel like I'm missing a lot of shows, you know. Um, but maybe that's it too. I saw Bama in the chat. I don't know where I was when I saw Bama in the chat today. And that was where was it? Oh, it was LIB was doing an interview this evening. It was a great interview. If you get to go check it out, I'm terrible with names and stuff, but it's like an acronym. The guy's show that he was on tonight, it was like 2 hours long, but it was really good. Yeah, so I'm just trying to catch up with everybody and see where everybody's at. Yeah, what was crazy is I pulled out my mandolin and was strumming on that the other day after I did my live stream, and Daniela was playing her video of Linda and Daniela were doing their video with Linda and Carrie, and that was wow, that was amazing. Just hearing his voice after all this time is just I can't even imagine what Linda's going through. Or yes, ORD3. Thank you, Judy Wheeler. Thank you. Really, Lee from Raven's Outpost has been on hiatus as well. Oh, yeah, his show is early, like 6 a.m. for me. And I happened to catch it, was it a few weeks ago? Yeah. And man, he was fired up over someone. Yeah. I think that was the last one. Oh, thank you, Miss Dill. I was just talking about my spirit glowing. It does not need makeup. Okay. Thank you. Well, I just wanted to, offer that just in case. Just in case anybody was wanting some makeup tips. All right, Danny, you have a good night. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, there's not much just going on. I'm just chitting and chatting. I could throw the link out there if someone wants to join. I don't know if you guys are up for that. Do a Mogs thing. I don't know if I can do that. I'll see. Don't look outside. Yeah, Danny's got some crazy stuff that goes on in his backyard. Good lordy. I wonder if that's been going on anymore. Yeah. So Sunday, Derek's going to get his Bean Boozled, and we're going to do this together. They've got a little game you can play where you spin the wheel, and it lands on one of the jelly beans. So you pick it out and then try it. So it could go one way or the other. I think that'll be funny. Yeah, the other night I stopped over on Moog's channel. I haven't been there forever, and it was crazy. I wasn't even subbed to his channel, and so I stopped into the chat there, and man, that got heated for a while too. And it was funny, but I almost came on, but I had had such an emotional day. I just looked like a train wreck. So I didn't go on, but maybe I'll go join in one of these nights. See how everybody's doing over there. Yeah, it's just been... I just feel a little lost. It's weird. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know where to go. I don't know where I belong. Yeah, so I'm hoping this whole Iron Dog venture turns out and it all comes to fruition. The Mint 400 is going on right now in Vegas. If you're into racing, I love racing. So that is awesome to watch the live stream on that. You can watch it on Facebook. I've been watching it on YouTube. It's just a better app for me to use. Facebook is kind of annoying for me, so I try to avoid it. I'm trying to get better with using. I haven't used my Instagram in forever. My LinkedIn is so old, it's not even funny. I never even put in my full profile for that either. So I got so much to do. And I got another invite for TED Women and the TED event in Vancouver. And like those are two separate TED events. And I don't know. I got him when I was invited before to the last TED event I was invited to. You had to have the vaccine to go, and I just no, I can't have it because of my nerve damage and shit like that. So I don't know. Something just kind of turned me off from the whole event because of all of that. But anyhow, so I got the invites again for this round, and I don't know. Like I said, I just don't feel like I belong anywhere anymore. I just like I feel like an outsider for some reason. Like I'm just on the outside of all these glass houses looking in. It's kind of weird, but it is. And it's not necessarily by circumstance. A lot of it's by choice. So, it's just I don't know what my hesitation and my reservations are and what I'm trying to protect or what's going on. Oh, okay. I'll do that. I'll try and holler at him. Yeah. There's another if I can get my in-laws on, I would love to interview them. They have been feeding the homeless for probably over 30 years now. And what was interesting is Oregon here is probably the best state for resources for the homeless, and they provide a lot of resources. And I don't know if you've heard in the news lately, they were even trying to think of adding and giving the homeless $1,000 a month here, which it's ridiculous. You can't just keep throwing money at a problem. It's not going to fix it. And this is why this conversation, I think, would be a really good conversation to have, is because what they've experienced, in all of their time of dealing with the homeless. And I am telling you, without fail, every single Sunday they are out there feeding the homeless and having prayer, and all of that. Barely a handful have taken all of those resources and have managed to get all the way back out and are doing good and are on their own and doing their own thing. A lot of times people are in that lifestyle for various reasons, but it is a lifestyle, and many of them choose that lifestyle. So even though you're going to keep throwing money at, it's not going to change. They're not going to change. A lot of them don't want to live in a house. They don't want to be confined in a home. Like, the circumstances are vast and few, and they're just varied out there. But it is eye-opening for sure when you talk to someone who's actually been in the heat of it and know what's going on and hear those stories and see, on a daily basis what's going on. So that would be an interesting topic as well. Oh, I went into, was I on No, I haven't been on Pipeline Islands yet. Has not been too chill lately. There's been a lot of drama in the community, and I don't know if it's because I don't know, people probably have an issue with me saying this, but Kerry was our leader. He did keep a lot of people in check, whether they want to admit it or not. He had a standard that people wanted to, not please him, but you know what I'm saying? So I think it just seems like everybody's just gone batshit crazy. Excuse my language. But that's what it seems like, because he had a presence and a way about him that commanded respect. It didn't demand respect. It commanded respect. You just respected him. And so it's been crazy watching everything fall apart, That whole thing with Zasky and Linda, and oh my God. How can someone claim to be a best friend of someone and then do that to their wife? Just sickening. There's no room for that. I don't know the dude. Can't say that I want to know him. There's just certain people I get a weird vibe from, and I just, whatever. But there's no excuse for that. None. Zero. Zilch. So, but attacking someone because they choose, no, that's even wrong. Like, there's just so much craziness going on right now. Like, why would you want to control someone else's life to the point of saying you can't watch that? Like, what the hell? What is wrong with that? What is it in someone that is so controlling that they want to control the masses to the point where, "Oh, you shouldn't watch this, you shouldn't do that"? I don't know. I just think there's a certain control freakness in there it comes out, and you're like, I don't know, when people show you who they are, believe them. I've been learning that the hard way, but that's the absolute truth. And I think how, like on Moog's show last night, how they resolved it was really well. I think that was really well done. So I don't know, Miss Still, if I do. Mine is Iron Dogger 01. at Yahoo if you want to email me. But yeah, I think how they decided to respectfully agree, I thought that was decent. And then he apologized. I thought that was it was brave of him, one, to come on in the heat of that. I think that was pretty brave of Brent to do that, in my opinion. So he did, and I don't know, he earned a lot of respect in my mind because he was willing to come on and defend himself while he was, being viciously attacked. And yeah, there were a lot of things that were said that were really good to, that needed to be said. But he did handle, I think, overall in a good manner, where he said, can you respect, I respect that you choose to do this. Can you respect that I choose to do? And it was like, wow, that, yeah, we should be able to respect each other's journey like that. And so I thought that was really well done. So bravo to Mogs and all of them for handling that so well. Like, it was almost going to be one of those flat earth moments. I'm like, oh geez, am I going to get on because I'm all fired up? Let's not do that again. That's pretty funny. I think that's pretty much how Mugs and I even got started on that whole journey, because I got all fired up over something. Oh, well, good, Judy. Yeah, and then Bat Mom came in, and I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that stir the pot just to stir it. They just and then sit back and watch. And I've watched that. I've witnessed that too many times, and that's why I got to a point where it's like, oh god, I'm gonna have to put duct tape on my face in order to shut up because I'm gonna say something. But I did really well. I was a little bit sarcastic, which that's one thing I enjoy, is that the freedom to express yourself without too much kickback. So that was nice to go back and hang out there. It's been a while since I've been there, so that was fun. It was really good. And then Stevie B got on and was like, listen up. That was awesome. So that was really good. That felt good last night. Yeah, no, she was just wanting to stir it. Yeah, like I said, I've watched that happen, where they've stirred it up and then just kind of I've been there's been a bunch of times where they've tried to goat me into situations, just trying to stir me up. I'm debating if I should share this information or not. Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah. Well, there was someone out there that I trusted, and someone you all know, who had the Golden Wrench of the Year award. I'm kidding. The smartass in me just cannot resist itself. Anyhow, so Miss Golden Wrench, laughing, coughing, sneezing, nuts, whatever, trying to be nice. Anyhow, this person behind my back was saying all sorts of horrible shit about me. Just horrible shit to someone I cared about deeply and respected. And the things that they were saying were things, if both of us weren't in the strong relationships we are in, it could have caused excessive amounts of drama, unnecessary drama. And she was one of those that just stirred the pot and just sat back and watched it play out, and would try and goat me into situations and things like that as well. And This was another person who I thought was on my side, was right there, you know, cheering me on, meanwhile was just stabbing me in the back. And when I was sent an email that she had sent where she was saying that I had wanted to sleep with this other person, anybody that knows me and knows my marriage knows that's a bunch of shit right there. Straight up. Anybody that knows me is a give me a break, right? But like I said, had our significant others had been any other than who they were, that could have caused a lot of unnecessary drama. And so why that person felt the desire to do that, I will never know. And it has been very difficult for me not to just straight out call this person out. I've tried to keep it. I think a lot of you kind of probably got the references I was making there, maybe, if you know who I'm talking about, but it was a shocker. It was someone that we all believed and trusted in and made themselves sound like they were just as sweet as pie and just loved everybody. And but no, behind the back, oh my God, they were just vicious. And the shit they did to every other woman was just, what the hell is wrong with you? So that, was really shocking. So, yeah, Miss Dill, there are a few instigators in that stream. Yeah. Yep. That's right. Definitely not a golden wrench. I'm a tarnished wrench. You are so funny, Miss Dill. Yeah, no, this person loved to brag about all the wrenches they had and felt they needed a golden wrench. Yeah, they. Yeah, that one hurt deeply. That hurt. That was a shock, and I could never thank Daniela enough for sharing that with me, because Daniela was someone I thought I couldn't have trusted like that, and she has turned out to be someone that I could trust. You know what I mean? Like the opposite of what everybody else was saying she is. So there's that, So again, it's just a mixed up, volatile, ugly mess that it's easy to let the drama consume, but that drama is what keeps the topic from being accepted. You know what I mean? I identify as a rusty spoon. You guys are hilarious. Thank you. My kind of humor. It's like the other night I was doing my unboxing and I had this altar cloth, and my husband, who I didn't know was watching the stream, said, "Oh, it's my new loincloth." It's so funny. It's made me bust. It still makes me laugh. Like, I have got to see this now. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that a lot of that drama that's stirring around in the Bigfoot community, if the subject itself isn't hard enough of a subject to have a conversation on, then they add this immaturity that doesn't need to be there. It just throws everything off. You know what I mean? And it does no good for anybody. And that's why the Joe Rogans and all the other, make fun of the Bigfoot community, is because of those antics and that kind of, I don't know. I just I have a hard time trusting someone that is constantly looking for faults in other people. You know what I mean? If they're constantly on the outlook for to get that gotcha on someone, don't I don't know if I can trust them. I'd love if you would wrench me. Can I do that from here? Let me see if I can. No. Oh, don't do that. Let me. Huh. I need to get on my. Here, I can do it from here. Let's see. If I get in, this might kill my internet. So if I go blippity blippity bloop, you know what's going on. You know what's happening. What am I doing? Who am I? Oh, look, there's me. I'm live. Shut up. Here you go, Miss Dell. Don't hit the red button. I know, right? That's what I'm trying not to do. Does anybody else want to be a wrench on here? If you're interested, I will gladly add you. I think Judy and Uncle Bones and Danny were my only wrenches. Yeah. Judy said he had enough on everybody, didn't have the proof. Oh my word. Yeah. There was a point where he said, if you come at me, blah blah blah. So I couldn't resist. So in the comments, Pyro, you saw that where I said, come at me, bro. It was that was the kind of vibe he was giving, like, come at me, bro. That's what it sounded like to me. So the sarcasm in me just couldn't resist it. But yeah, what is wrong with people? Why can't you? Like, okay, I understand that we don't want hoaxers out there, right? Whatever. But at the same time, who gives a shit? Really, who gives a shit? In the big, giant scheme of things, what one person decides to do, even if they're hoaxing, who gives a shit? Honestly. Like he says, oh, this is going to make us look bad. No, you being an asshole is what's going to make everybody look bad. That's what's going to make everybody look bad. You being an asshole. Someone out there faking shit, they're going to sign their own, seal their own fate, right? But once you prove you're an asshole, you're an asshole. You can't take that back. Again, when people insist on showing you who they are, believe them. Yeah, I think I made a comment in there that, boy, this guy must be a joy to hang out with. Right? And there's just certain people that are just, yeah. So again, I'm put off by people who are obsessed with the hoaxers and feel the need. Like, to me, it seems like they've got some intellectual superiority complex where they feel like, see, I'm not falling for it. That's the impression I get, is that they're desperately trying to prove that they're smarter than everybody else and that they could see through the bullshit. I just get this taste in my mouth when people are like that. To me, it just comes across as a superiority complex. It really does. And it doesn't do anybody any good. So there's channels out there that are completely devoted to hoaxing, finding the hoaxers and weeding them out. Like, do they feel like, I accomplished something really good today? I took someone out. Like, is that, like, what is it? I don't know. I just, again, I want to respect whatever journey they're on or whatever, like we said, but what is it in their personality that they are such control freaks that they want to dictate who can watch what and who is okay to watch and who's accepted and for what reasons, you know? I don't know. It's like a God superiority complex. I keep going back to that, but that's the attitude. And that shit is not doing the community any damn good at all. So, you know, I think some of those hoaxing stuff is funny. I think some of it is quite entertaining. So who cares? Seriously, who cares? Yeah. I just I don't know. I have been really considering doing a lot more. Like, I don't know if you guys remember some of my very first videos where I was having a ball of a time, having fun with the common jokes about what Bigfooters do out there while they're looking for Footy Man and stuff like that. I had a ball of a time with it. So I thought, oh, I should get all my little Footy Men and do a lot of my videos where I used to have them hiding in the trees while I was walking along and doing my videos. No one has ever pointed them out and said, "Oh, I saw." But I would stash my little Footy Man, the little stuffed animal Footy Man, all over in the trees. So as I'm walking along, they'd be in the trees, and I would never point them out or anything, but they're in there. They're in there. I've done quite a few with them in there, and made some fun remarks and smart ass comments, and oh, I feel like I'm being watched. And they're like right there. Yeah, I don't know. And so I kept expecting to come up on some of those shows, as a hoaxer. I thought, oh, please make my day, please. Oh, please call me out. Try and cancel me, please. Please, please, please. Can you imagine the amount of fun I would have with them if they were calling me a hoax? Oh my God. Right, right. Yeah, it's one thing to say, hey, this guy has been known. It's like, why did Les Stroud do a movie with one of the biggest known hoaxers? Like, they did an actual movie together. And that Better Off Dead Fred dude or whatever, that guy, that comedian. Like, why did he do a movie with that guy? Why did he go out with Todd Standing? Why hasn't he supplied substantial proof? Like, what has he done? How is he helping the subject? Right? Because that once he got involved, I thought, oh shit, it's done. It's done. It's over, boys and girls. It's a wrap. He's gonna blow this wide open. And the backlash he got from his subscribers and all of that, and then he talked about all of the Bigfoot community drama, and there were people that went after him because he wouldn't come on their show, like, god dang, just got crazy. So I don't know, but I really felt like if we were going to get anywhere with the subject, I thought Les Stroud was the one that was really going to bring that sense of respect and admiration to the field, you know. So I've been really disappointed that there hasn't been nothing coming from that side of the camp. You know what I mean? And then when he went and did that movie, God, I can't remember the name of it. I apologize. But there was a movie that Les Stroud did with that one known hoaxer, the guy that got paid like 50 grand for hoaxing. They did a movie together on the topic pretty much. So I don't know. It doesn't help the subject too much. And then there's people who hate the Finding Bigfoot show, but one of the things that I continually say about that show is no matter what, they made the topic more palatable for your average citizen. You know, it opened up the door to be able to have this conversation without being completely ridiculed and laughed out of the room. You know what I mean? So even though they've never found anything, um, they did put enough questions in people's mind that made them stop and pause that maybe otherwise they would never have even given the subject a moment's glance. You know what I mean? So I guess what I'm trying to say is everybody's going to come into this topic from a different angle, but I think regardless of all the hoaxing and all the blah 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 blah, they end up finding their way through it all. You know, some, linger in other areas, but I think there's the community that exists. And so even like let's say you don't agree with Todd Standing, his community is still there. It's still a vibrant community and it's worth enjoying and hanging out in there. Just because you may or may not agree with his tactics or what he's done or believe his photos and whatever evidence he has or doesn't have, you know, it's still a group of people that are there trying to find answers, you know. So, yeah. Yeah, you can glean some stuff like yeah, Miss Dill, you can glean some of that stuff off of all these yeah, but it is entertainment, exactly. So, when it's framed under that entertainment umbrella, it it's for entertainment purposes. So you can't, you just got to take some of the information not so seriously. I would love to see Diesel in New Jersey do his show. Doesn't he have a channel? That guy has a channel, right? Has he not been on an interview yet? Huh. There's another woman that's here in Oregon, and I wanted to get her on Bigfoot Odyssey so bad, and I tried to get her scheduled, and I could just never, for whatever reason, make that happen. Um, it's just like Rob Roy Menzies. I tried to get him scheduled on Bigfoot Odyssey, and that just went to crap. um, That guy is entertaining, though. He is definitely entertaining. But he knows the pilot that's where all those audio files came from out there in Alaska. And that's where Small Town Monsters went, is to that guy's property. So, yeah, he's a real character, though. Yeah. So there's still so much left to do as far as the topic. Seeing a musher, because the Iditarod is a global event where, everybody all over the world watch the Iditarod. And a lot of the classrooms, like elementary classrooms, have different programs built around the Iditarod. So as the mushers are making their way to the different villages, they'll have book reading contests or math contests or all this stuff, that teachers do along with the Iditarod, and have all this supplemental, education that goes along with that race. But that musher that's out there trying to prove that Bigfoot exists. Like, how awesome is that? Really, I can't wait to get a hold of this guy and start listening, hearing some of his stories, because I'm telling you, and I've been saying this, the mushers are going to have stories. If anybody has stories, the Alaskan mushers are going to have some damn stories, because look at what they're facing. They are out in remote areas. They've just got a dog team, bringing them, dragging them through everywhere, so they've got the factor of having dogs, you know, out in the middle of nowhere. And so when they bed their dogs down, they've got hay that they bring on their sled, and they put out the hay, and the dogs bed out, and, and they make their fire and do their thing. And, you know, how many, like we say, oh, well, they come and watch us in our houses. Imagine seeing a musher. They're going to sit there and watch them and follow them even, who knows? So maybe even mess with their dogs. I just am intrigued. So I'm dying to get some of these stories. I did see Dee Dee John Rowe at the finish. I got a picture with her and chatted with her for a little bit, but yeah, it'd be fun to get the mushers on and hear some of their stories of being out there, and just not only just Bigfoot, the little people, and UFOs, all of that kind of stuff, because they're gonna see it all out there, So I'm sure they've got some really intense stories. Not only their mushing, stories are really good to listen to, but to hear about whatever they've seen out there would be so interesting. Yeah. Yes, subarctic Alaskan Sasquatch. Yes, Fred has got a lot of mushers, and he's got a lot of Alaskan natives. So he is and the source of getting these stories. So, yeah. I'm so glad he's got a channel and he's doing what he's doing, because there's so many Alaskan stories, and I just couldn't do the subject good enough, and I think he's doing a fantastic job with it. So, yeah, I love that channel. He's got some great shares. And as he continues and as his channel grows, I think more people are going to open up and share with him some more stuff. And just Alaska is so unique in many regards. But the difference between like the southern experiences to the inland, like when you hear some of those inland stories, it's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And one night, I was at a party, and a native was telling me about them in that central, like Fairbanks area. And I wasn't, now looking back, I understand now what he was talking about. But at that time, I wasn't catching on that he was talking about Sasquatch. So I was kind of not aligning with his story really well. So, when he was trying to explain how mean and scary, and you just don't go out in the woods out there. And now I look back and go, oh, okay. Now I know what he was trying to tell me without coming right out and saying it. Yeah. Oh, I watched an interview from a ufologist, Leary? No, not Larry. Mm. Anyhow, this guy was back in 1977. I think this interview was done. And this gentleman was a pilot. He was in the Air Force. He had extensive credentials. And he was explaining that there is 70 known species at that time of aliens. And he was talking about some of their abilities and how they were able to make themselves invisible and use telepathy. And a lot of the things he was saying, and that they were able to transport from one place to another immediately just with their mind, by using their mind. I could not help but think of some of the experiences people have with Sasquatch and those exact kind of situations. And I thought, oh my gosh, holy moly. I think we're going to get to a point where when more of this becomes known and accepted, like right now, when the government came out and said, okay, look, yeah, UFOs are real, nobody freaked out. Like, they didn't get the response they thought they were going to get because they've waited too long. Everybody already knew. It's like, yeah, you're a little late to the game, guys. Yeah, we've been here. And so they've turned themselves into a joke, more or less, where something like this subject, they need to get out ahead and in front of now and come out to not be taken as such a backwards joke. Like, no one even wants to talk to the government about aliens right now because they're so far behind like, no, you guys have been lying and hiding for so long. Why would we want to bring you into the game now? After all you've done to people, making them look like idiots, and yeah, on purpose. So it would be interesting to see if there's some kind of shift that happens, you know. Y- Yeah, like astral projection, but taking your body along. Yeah. Yeah. Like, he was talking about how a particular alien, if um, they were trying to make him happy because he would go invisible, and they couldn't detect him, they couldn't find him, they couldn't, even though he was in a space, and they had all this EMF stuff around, he would still go invisible. And so they were doing everything they can to try and please this entity so that it wouldn't go invisible and that it would answer their questions. And so I thought, man, huh, that's really interesting. So even though they think they have control of a situation, they still had no control. You know what I mean? So hopefully the government gets ahead of it before they're behind it. And still, the real strange happenings that people really experienced are called crazy, but the TV never finding a shower, let alone a Bigfoot. Are the experts, huh? Yeah, right. Yeah. So now, after all these years of denying it, now all of a sudden we're gonna be like, oh, wow, look at you telling us, oh, so big of you. Please, we're like, nobody needs you. I mean, I'm not saying we don't need it, but you know what I mean. Like, come on, get with the program. We're light years past that. Judy, Jackie, I've witnessed some unusual beings that I watched appear from out of the ether. That, it's like at night when I was going through my death throes, before I knew what was going on with my leukemia and everything, and the doctors had no idea, and I was going in and out. I was seeing like that Hat Man. Um, almost nightly, and just some crazy shadow figures and just scary, really intense things. And the thing with like the Hat Man was, it was like he was reaching for me, and he'd have like a suit on, like a black and like white, like a suit, and he'd have cufflinks. Like, yeah, it was so crazy. And every time he'd be reaching for me, and I could see his cufflinks, and oh, it was just so freaky. And I would just scream and and my husband got to the point where my husband was so used to me waking up in terrors like that. He was just like, "It's okay, you're here, we're here," like telling me where I'm at and that it's okay. And like he went through this whole thing of reassuring me of where I am, where we are, what time it is, that kind of stuff. Because there's a lot of it's so hard to talk about, and I don't want to. But I would go through these shifts, and it was like I was shifting through dimensions. Sounds flippin' insane, and it was absolutely insane to experience it. But I was flipping through dimensions, like just chucking through them, and I could not. There was just little things that were different in all of these different dimensions. Like my life was like I was in the same house. So, all these things were the same, but like the car would be blue, or something, just one little thing would be off, it seemed like, in each of these different dimensions. And I was just chucking through them like shoom 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 shoom, and it got to the point where it was hard for me to decipher which dimension I was in, and I couldn't tell what was real, what wasn't real, and it was scary. It was insane how people do psycho. I don't know, that shit scared the shit right out of me. And I was like going insane. It felt like I was going insane. And I remember one day I was sitting there and I could see a Wolverine on my ceiling, and I'm like, there's a Wolverine there, but I know there's not a Wolverine on my ceiling. Like, I'm like arguing with myself, like, there's not a Wolverine on your ceiling, jackass, but I can clearly see the damn Wolverine on my ceiling. Oh, it was so insane. And it got to the point where like my son was calling it Alice in Wonderland. Like I was in an Alice in Wonderland state, because I couldn't. It was hard. It was insane, and it was so scary. Like you shift into a different dimension, and that's the best way I can explain it. Was everything was the same, except just little things were off, and you'd shift into that dimension, and you'd think you were in your base dimension or your base experience, like my base experience, like being right here right now. And then I'd shift, boom, let's say, okay, and so now I'm sitting here in a different dimension, and it's Jamie Wheeler instead of Judy Wheeler, just some little tiny switch, but just enough that something's not right. Which, when we have these uh, Mandela effects, it's like that. It is exactly like that, where it's just a little bit off, and you're like, no, I know that wasn't Berenstain Bear. I know for a damn fact it wasn't Berenstain Bear. I read that at the preschool. I taught kids Berenstain Bear for years, over a decade. I've read those books, had lessons on those books. So, it's like those experiences where so when you see it playing not only in your life but on a big global scale, it really messes with your head, and you're like, oh my god, we're all shifting in and out of these weird dimensions, and oh god dang, are we ever going to get back to our base reality? Is there a base reality? And yeah, so all of that stuff, it just gets a little crazy, and it gets really intense. But that was one hell of an experience that I would love to talk more about and share that on a whole, like on its whole other issue. But and going on the other side and watching my whole life play out and being accountable for all of my actions. And it's your intentions and your motives is what we're held in judgment on, and as long as you come from a solid place with your intentions and your emotions. Hey Joe, Squatching Cowboy, good to see you. As long as you come from a solid place with your heart and your good and your intention and your motives are come from a good place, you're gonna end up on the better side of that situation, you know so I'm at peace with what's waiting on the other side. I've kind of went through it, and I'm at peace, you know. But I do want to get to a point where I can talk about that, because there were when I'd come back from that place, because like I said, I did that shifting through dimensions, and then there was a point where I just went to the other side. That whole experience it provides me with so much peace and confidence in that regard that I wish I could share that with everyone. So I would love to talk about that experience, but that would probably be a topic all on its own and probably cover a couple hours all on its own. So we're not going to do that tonight or anything, because I'm going to end it here quite quickly. But oh, Judy, on the Mongolian Rim where we were lost and stranded. Oh, geez. Wow. Oh, is that when you guys went to do? Sorry, Judy, I just noticed your comment there. Was that when you guys went to go meet up and do that meet and greet with Mogs? Where you saw that appear and disappear into the ether? God dang, that must have been intense. Yeah. So while I was dealing with that and seeing shadow entities and Hat Man and all of that crazy shit, oh wow, Judy. Um I I have a hard time saying someone is making up their experience, especially when you have someone like Davy Crockett, who had a Bigfoot experience where he appeared out of the ether as well. So, um, I think, like I said, I think there's a bunch of people who are on this superiority complex high, and they just want to sound like, whether it's to to reassure themselves. I don't know what their reasoning is, but they feel this desire to be like, no, see, I'm smarter than everybody else. I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe routine. That's just, I don't know. So I think that attitude prevents a lot of people from really taking the bigger look at this topic and accepting that there are some high strangeness that come along with it. Like, I can't say anything was strange about seeing footprints out in the middle of nowhere in 26 below remote Alaska. Like, to me, if you could zap in and out of places, why would you do that? Why would you be tromping through 4 feet of snow out in the middle of freaking nowhere? Right? Why don't you just zoom, zoom, zap somewhere? So, that some people want to say, oh, see, that proves one way or the other. I think we're not allowing ourselves to experience it all. It's just like the micro and the macro. When scientists started digging further and further into the atomic world and started realizing that the physics were different, you know, what would happen if they just refused to acknowledge that and held on to their no, these are the rules, these are the laws of physics and they can't be changed. You know, where would we be? We wouldn't be splitting atoms. We wouldn't be doing any of that stuff. So we're never going to get anywhere on this subject if we don't start opening up our accepted fields of reference. You know what I mean? Headed to a conference tomorrow. Can't wait to hear at least one person I will know has really seen these guys. Oh, wow, Pyro. That'll be awesome. Can't wait to hear. I hope you share that with us. Whoa, it's almost been 2 hours. I should probably get off here. I've been yapping my flap for long enough. Well, thanks for hanging out, y'all. Probably gone darted all over the way with subjects, but hopefully you guys hung out and were able to follow along. I know my mind just shifts subjects, shifts subjects a lot, but that's okay. So tomorrow, I'm hopefully going to come on. Derek and I will be on. Maybe even later, I can get Captain Jake to come on, and we'll maybe do a Tubers and Chiefers. Definitely going to get the goodness group scheduled. So I know a lot of you guys that weren't here in the beginning. I was talking about there's a group, CBD. They cultivate and make great CBD gummies and all sorts of edibles and all sorts of stuff. So they're going to be coming on Tubers and Chiefers. They're actually going to come here to the studio. And so I'll get speakers and headsets set up and we'll be able to hang out and whoever's on the show during the live stream, we're going to have you guys email me so we can get your addresses and send you some of the goodies. So we're going to definitely be sharing some of that stuff. And so, and probably there'll be some for those who catch on afterwards and stuff. So we're going to try and make sure that everybody gets a little bit, but that's going to be fun. So I'm trying to get things lined up, get it scheduled and get things set up. I'm still trying to get the racers scheduled and lined out, but right now is really busy time for racers in Alaska. So hopefully though, we'll get that as they start getting out of their racing season and start prepping for summer. We'll hopefully be able to catch them during that time. So again, I really appreciate you guys making memories with me because that's what it's all about, our memories. That's all we're going to have when we're laying there in that bed. So thank you. I truly appreciate having you guys here with me and taking this journey together. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to wherever we go. So we'll see you guys around. Hopefully we'll see each other in the chats. All right, tubers and footers, thank you so much. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.